Okay, recording has started. Recording has started. Game. So let's talk about the indifference point. What's the indifference point? To appreciate what the indifference point is, we have to understand what cost structure is. Cost structure is how a company uses a mix of variable cost and fixed cost. Yung operations ba ng company, dadamihan ba yung variable cost or dadamihan yung fixed cost? More variable cost or more fixed cost? In the video that I have given you last meeting, before we end our lecture, I told you to watch the principle of operating leverage. When a company decides to substitute its variable cost with fixed cost, gamit siya ng fixed cost para mabawasan yung variable cost. Ang issue natin sa fixed cost, may benta ka man o wala, kailangan mo siyang bayaran. Okay? With fixed cost, whether you have sales or none, then you have to incur it. Okay? Is it good or bad? It is good if you have high sales. Kung mataas yung sales mo, hindi natataas yung gastos mo sa fixed cost. Okay? If you are going to have a lot of fixed costs, when sales go up, your costs will no longer go up, the fixed cost. Because when it is a variable cost, the tendency is that when your sales go up, tataas din yung variable cost. Okay? But the downside is, when sales are going down, your fixed cost will remain the same. Hindi bababa yung cost mo. Hindi katulad ng variable cost, kung tataas, tataas din. Kung bababa, bababa din. Kung maganda yung panahon, edi maganda. Kung pangit, pangit. Ganun sa variable cost. Pero pag fixed cost, may sales ka, at sobrang taas ng sales mo, sobrang ganda. No? Pero pag sobrang bagsak naman sales mo, mas sobra pa yung bagsak ng profit. Okay? Operating leverage is the use of fixed costs so that a small change in sales, percentage-wise, would translate to a greater change in percentage change in operating profit, aka earnings before interest and taxes. Here in the indifference point, what we are interested so far is the level of sales where income of one cost structure, say for example, intents in variable costs, would be equal to the income of the second cost structure, which is intents in fixed costs. We ended with this problem last meeting. The following data relate to our company, which sells a single product. Unit selling price 50. Purchase cost per unit, this is normally a variable cost, 20. Sales commission, since it depends on sales, is also variable, 750. That's 15% of 50. Monthly fixed cost, 450K. The firm salesman would like to change their compensation. From 15% commission, they want to do it lower. 5% commission. So rather than 750, 5% is only 250. But they are going to receive 100,000 per month fixed salary. So the company will incur an additional 100,000 in fixed costs. Presently, the salesman receives commission only. At what sales volume in units will the two compensation plans be indifferent? Sorry, I have to accept this call. Okay, going back. So the question is, presently the sales man received the commission only. There's no salary. So wala itong 100,000. At what sales volume in units will the two compensation plans be different? What sales volume in units will the two compensation plans be indifferent? We have here sales revenue minus total variable costs minus total fixed costs. That would give you your operating profit. So revenue minus variable cost is your total contribution margin. How do we express the total contribution margin? Okay. Way one, that's number of units times the UCM. Number of units times the UCM. The other way is CMR times the sales revenue. So total contribution margin can be arrived at by multiplying the UCM by the number of units sold. The other way is by, if you can remember last meeting, CMR multiplied by the sales revenue. So the UCM times the units under A minus the total fixed cost under A. This should be equal to UCM of boy times the number of units minus the total fixed cost in the boy. So A being the first cost structure where they receive only commission, while boy is the second cost structure, 5% commission plus salary. Okay? Ito yung ginawa natin last time. So the profit, which is the difference between CM and total fixed cost, for both sides should be the same under the indifference point. What we're looking for is the level of sales units, which will give us the same profit. The UCM of the first cost structure is 50 minus 2750 times the number of units sold minus 450,000, the fixed cost. Under the second cost structure, the commission is now only 250. So 50 minus 2250 times the number of units sold minus, this time there's a salary. So plus 100K, 550,000. You would end up with the following simplified formula. 2250, the difference of this, times U, minus 450K is equal to 2750U minus 550K. This will give you 5U equals to 100,000. 5U is equals to 100,000. 2750 minus 2250, it's 5. 5U, this is equal to 100,000. So, U is therefore equal to 20,000 units. I believe that one of you got this correctly. The level of sales units where the profit of one cost structure would be equal to the other, that would be 20,000 units. Okay? Kung makakabenta ka ng 20,000 units, magiging pantay yung profit. Okay? So, ano yung magiging profit na yan? Ben, tanungin ko nga kayo. Ano yung magiging profit kung saan 20,000 units yung ibebenta natin? What will be the profit if 20,000 units will be sold? Anyone? What would be the profit if 20,000 units will be sold? Anyone? Ano ang magiging profit pag 20,000 units yung ibebenta? So let me go here. Okay? So kapag 2250 yung UCM, multiply it by 20K. 2250 times 20K, that's 450,000. Tama? The total contribution margin would be 450K. minus 450K, giving you 0. If you apply the 20K units to the other side in the cost structure, boy, 2750 times 20K is 550,000 minus 550,000. That would give you 0. So the correct answer is 0. Inyo ilagay ha. Ang sagot ha, 20,000, hindi yung 100K. The number of units to be sold, the indifference point. The indifference point, the number of units to be sold where it will give the same profit under both sides of the equation. Whether we use the original or the new compensation package for the salesman is 20,000 units. Nagkataon, yun din yung break-even point. Nagkataon lang, no? Na yun din yung break-even point. 2250 times 20K, that's 450 minus 450, 0. 2750 times 20K is 550. 550 minus 550K, that would give you 0. So, at 20,000 units, you will have the same profit for both the original cost structure and the new cost structure. And what is that profit? The profit is 0. Okay? Want you to do the next problem. Okay? Gawin natin itong susunod na problem. Okay. This is looking for the indifference point. Question. The total sales revenue. Let's go to the question first. The total sales revenue at which Anilowski company would make the same profit or loss, regardless of the scheme model it decided to produce, is, okay, sales revenue at which Anilowski company would make the same profit or loss, regardless of the scheme model it decided to produce. In other words, we're looking for the indifference point in sales revenue. Anong revenue kung saan piliin mo man yung isang option o piliin mo man yung isa pang option, pantay pa rin ang profit. Nakuha nyo? But this time, we're not looking for the sales units. We're looking for the sales revenue in pesos. In pesos. Not in units, but in pesos. Okay? So, reminders. This is my clue for you. If you can express the total contribution margin as the product of unit CM times the number of units sold, you may also express the contribution margin as contribution margin ratio times sales revenue. Tama ba? I will give you 3 minutes to answer this question. I will give you 3 minutes to answer this question. Hopefully, someone will answer. Okay, you have 1 more minute. 1 more minute. Tell me at what level of sales revenue would give us the same profit, whether you're going to use the mountaineering or the touring model in your production. Okay, please type your answers. Please type your answers. We're going to press the enter button together. Okay. Enter your answers. Enter your answers. Okay, no answers? Wala bang sagot? Ulitin ko yung tanong ha. The total sales revenue at which Anilowski Company would make the same profit or loss, regardless of the ski model it decided to produce, is whether it's mountaineering or touring, you would arrive at the same profit. Anilowski Corporation recently expanded its manufacturing capacity to allow it to produce up to 15,000 pairs of cross-country skis of either the mountaineering model or the touring model. The sales department assures management that it can sell between 9,000 and 13,000 pairs or units of either product this year. Because the models are very similar, Anilowski would produce only one of the two models. The following data were compiled by the accounting department. So you have a different price for mountaineering and touring. Mountaineering would give you a price of 88, touring 80. Both of them each has a variable cost of 52.80. Fixed cost will total 369,600 if the mountaineering model is produced, but will be only 316,800 if the touring model is produced. Income tax rate 40%. The total sales revenue at which Anilowski Company would make the same profit or loss, regardless of the ski model it decided to produce, is. Now, what you need to understand is the difference between revenue and variable costs, then minus fixed costs will give you the profit for that operation. Sales revenue minus variable costs minus total fixed cost is operating profit. Revenue minus variable cost is contribution margin. Total contribution margin minus total fixed cost is operating profit. Total contribution margin is equal to total fixed cost plus operating profit, therefore. The other way of expressing total contribution margin is as a product of CMR and sales revenue. CMR and sales revenue, this is your total contribution margin. CMR times sales revenue, total contribution margin. So, kailangan natin ang CMR. We need to calculate the CMR. UCM first. UCM. 88 minus 5280 is 3520. 80 minus 5280 is 2720. Express them as a percentage of the price. 3520 minus 88 is 40%. 2720 over 80 is 34%. That's it. Okay? So, remember, you can arrive at the total contribution margin by multiplying the CMR times the sales revenue. CMR times sales revenue is the total contribution margin, TCM. For both sides of the equation, we have the same terms, but for a different variable, for a different amount or figure. A will be mountaineering, A will be mountaineering, B will be touring. Kuha nyo? Yung side A, mountaineering, side B, touring. They should provide the same profit. These are profit equations. So let's proceed. The CMR of A again is 40% multiplied by the sales revenue minus the fixed cost of 369,600. This should provide the same profit as boy, touring. So mountaineering, 40% SR minus 369,600. Touring, 34% SR minus 316,800. Okay? Yun lang. Ganun kadali yung ating calculations. 40 minus 34 is 6% SR. 369,600, bring it here, it becomes positive. Minus 316,800, you have 52,800. The level of sales, which will give them the same profit, is therefore 880,000 pesos. 880,000 pesos. Interpretation. The sales revenue of 880,000 pesos, it will give the same profit whether you produce mountaineering or touring. Try natin ha. If 880,000 yung ating sales revenue, pantay ang kanilang profit or loss. Try natin. 40% times 880K. 40% times 880K, that would be 352 minus 369,600. Negative 17,600. The loss will be negative 17,600. What if we use this one, the touring? 34% times 880K minus 316,800. Still, negative 17,600. If the sales revenue are or is 880,000 pesos, the profit or loss on both sides of the equation will be the same. When you produce mountaineering, you will have a loss of 17,600. If you produce touring, you will have the same loss, negative 17,600. This is the indifference point. This is the indifference point. Next. Let us apply CVP analysis to more than one products. As I have told you, we should assume that this mix of products would remain the same. Okay? In multi-product CVP, in other words, you have two or more products, always assume a constant mix of product. Sales mix can be stated in terms of the following. Sales mix can be stated as sales unit product mix, sales revenue mix. So sales unit product mix, sales revenue mix. Now, this is what you're going to do. If you want to arrive at the UCM or CMR, it will be a challenge because there are at least two products. Tama? Kunyari, meron kang apple tsaka orange. Iba yung presyo ni apple tsaka ni orange. Iba yung variable cost ni apple tsaka ni orange. They have different price and unit variable cost figures. Okay? So therefore, when you calculate the UCM as well as the CMR, both the UCM and the CMR, it will be a big problem. Bakit siya maging problem? Magkaiba sila ng UCM, magkaiba sila ng CMR. So what UCM, what CMR are we going to use? Kapag tinatanong yung UCM tsaka CMR, dalawa o tatlo yung produkto mo. Marami kang produkto. Alin ang gagamitin mo? I-assume mo na yung mix ng benta pwede mong i-predict. Kunyari, sa isang araw, mga nabebenta ko 10 apple, 10 orange. 10 apples, 10 oranges. So the ratio is, for every apple sold, 1 orange is sold. So, ano yung mix nun? The mix is 50-50. Okay? 50-50. Now, do not get confused with the sales unit product mix and the sales revenue mix. Sales unit product mix, this is per unit. Okay? For every 1 apple na nabebenta mo, every 1 apple, isang orange, 50-50. Pero yung apple, 10 pesos. Yung orange, 20 pesos. Just an example, no? Apple, 10 pesos. Orange, 20 pesos. So what would happen? The ratio of the revenue, pag tinatanong na yung pera na pumapasok, sales revenue, will be 1:2. Hindi na 1:1. It will be 1:2. For every 10 pesos ng apple na nakukuha mo, kung nakakabenta ka ng orange, meron kang 20 pesos. 20 pesos ng orange yung pumapasok. Magkaibang bagay ang unit mix tsaka revenue mix. Now, pagdating sa UCM tsaka sa CMR calculation, kailangan natin hanapan ng average. Okay? We need to calculate the average of the UCM and the CMR. To simplify things, if you are given the sales unit mix, sales unit product mix, you may use the weighted average UCM to arrive at the break-even point in units. If you are to use the sales revenue mix, you may use the weighted average CMR to arrive at the break-even point in sales revenue. Okay. Now, let me clarify to you what we mean by unit product mix and revenue mix again. Apples to oranges. Babaguhin ko yung ratio. Sales unit mix. 2:1. How would you visualize unit mix of 2:1? Anong ibig sabihin nun? What does it mean? Kung nakakabenta ka ng 2 apple, okay, nakakabenta ka rin ng isang orange. So, kung 30 fruits na benta mo sa isang araw, if you sold 30 fruits in 1 day, 20 of those would be apples and 10 will be oranges. 2:1. I would rather say 2/3 is to 1/3 para fraction ang dating. O kaya percentage. 66.666%, that's 2/3, is to 33.333%. That's 1/3. The unit mix and the revenue mix is not necessarily the same. Example, if the price of 1 apple is $2 and the price of 1 orange is $3, okay? Every time you sell 2 apples, you would get $4. Tama? Bawat benta mo ng 2 apple, nakaka $4 ka. $2 each times 2, $4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Isang orange lang, pero yung orange na yon, malaki yung presyo. The price is $3. $4 from apples and $3 from oranges. They have different ratio. Ano yung sales unit mix? 2:1 or 66% is to 33%. What's the sales revenue mix? 4:3. Pwede nyo gawing fraction. 4 plus 3 is 7, no? 4/7 is to 3/7. $4 from apples, $3 from oranges. Okay? Allow me to use this as a demonstration of how to perform multi-product CVP. How do we perform multi-product CVP? Go. The sales unit product mix between products A and boy are 1:2. Sales price and variable costs of the two are as follows. Dalawa yung product, A and boy. The ratio of the unit product mix, 1:2. A to B, 1A to B. Tuwing nakakabenta ka ng 3, every time you sell 3, one of them is A, two of them is boy. The price of A is 8. The price of boy is 6. The variable cost per unit of A is 2. Of B, it is 3. Fixed cost is 600,000 pesos. Fixed cost is 600,000 pesos. Determine the sales revenue mix. What is the weighted average UCM and the weighted average CMR? Please listen to this one step by step. A and B. Ano yung presyo? 8 and 6. Unit variable costs, 2 and 3 respectively. Let's do this step by step. While you are writing there, price of A is 8, variable cost is 2, the UCM is 6. Okay. Boy, 6 minus 3, that's 3. Afterwards, you are to calculate the CMR as well, the contribution margin ratio. Okay? Contribution margin ratio. So, the contribution margin ratio for A is 6 divided by 8. 6 divided by 8, that's 75%. For boy, it's 3 over 6. You have 50%. Okay lang? So 75%, that's 6 over 8. 50%, that's 3 over 6. Okay. First question. Nilatag ko lang to ha. Wala pa tayo sa first question. Nilatag ko lang to. Gawin nyo ng available yung UCM data nyo tsaka yung CMR na data. Game. Determine the sales revenue mix. Madali lang to. The sales unit mix is 1:2. Yung unit product mix, 1:2. Tama ba? Another way of putting it, 1 plus 2. 1 plus 2 is 3. 1/3 is to 2/3. 1/3 is to 2/3. Para makabuo tayo ng 100%. So that we may complete 100%, let's make it a fraction. 1 plus 2 is 3. 1 over 3 is 33.33%. 2 over 3 is 66.666%. Okay? So I'll put it this way. Same lang to ha. 1:2, tsaka ganito, parehas lang yan. Mas gusto ko lang naka percent 4. Okay. So 33.333% is to 66.666%. That's the unit mix. That's the sales unit mix. Okay. What about the sales revenue mix? Tuwing nakakabenta ka ng isang A, yung presyo niya 8. 1 times 8 is 8. Nakakabenta ka ng dalawang boy, bawat benta mo ng A. Bawat benta mo ng boy, 6. 2 times 6 is 12. 1 times 8, katulad ng ginawa natin kanina. 1 times 8, that's 8. 2 times 6, that is 12. Okay? 2 times 6, that is 12. So, 8:12. 8:12. Ang sagot sa sales revenue mix, 8:12. 1 times 8 is 8. Dalawang boy, 2 times 6 is 12. 8 plus 12 is 20. 8 plus 12 is 20. 8 over 20, 40%. 8 over 20, 40%. 12 over 20, 60%. I repeat. 8 over 20, 40%. 8 over 12 over 20, 60%. Okay? Determine the sales revenue mix. Pwede nyo sabihin, ang sagot dito sa number 1, 8:12, or mas maganda, naka-percentage na, 40% is to 60%. Next question. What is the weighted average UCM? Anong percentage yung gagamitin natin para sa weights ni A tsaka ni boy? If we are looking for the weighted average UCM, we have to use the given SU product mix, unit product mix. Kapag weighted average CMR, gamitin nyo yung sales revenue mix to arrive at the break-even points. Okay. Now, Let us continue. Sales unit product mix, 53% is to 66.666%. So you would have the following. 6 times 0.33333, 3 times 0.66666. You will have the following. 4 pesos. 6 times 0.33333, that's 2. 3 times 0.66666, that's also 2. 2 plus 2, 4 pesos. The unit contribution margin, weighted average for A and boy. Magkaiba yung kanilang UCM, magkaiba ang kanilang CMR, kaya kailangan natin silang kuhaan ng weighted average. Kasi yung UCM tsaka CMR, ginagamit natin yan sa break-even calculation. We use the UCM and the CMR in the break-even calculations. Next, 0.75, the CMR, 50%, 0.50, A and boy. For the weighted average CMR, you will use the revenue mix. 0.75 times 0.4, 0.3. 0.5 times 0.6, 0.3. 0.3 plus 0.3, 60% or 0.6. Ano yung kunin? CMR, 0.75 times 0.4 plus 0.5 times 0.6. That's 30% plus 30%. You will have 60%. You will have 60%. Okay. Next. Break-even point in units. How do you determine the break-even point in units? As I have told you, just divide the fixed cost by the UCM. 600,000 divided by 4, this is 150,000. 600,000 divided by 4, that would be 150,000 units. Para mabawi mo yung gastos mo. Hindi ka pa kikita, pero hindi ka malulugi. Yun yung meaning ng break-even point. In order to recover all costs, zero profit, zero loss, you should be able to sell 150,000 units. You should be able to sell 150,000 units. Break-even point in units, 150,000. Ilang porsyento sa units, A, ilang porsyento sa units, boy. 53.333% is A. 0.3333 times 150, 50,000 units. 0.6666 times 150, B is 100,000 units. 50,000 units and 100,000 units respectively. Okay. Ilan ang kailangan mong ibenta para mabawi mo gastos mo? Wala kang kita, hindi ka lugi. Kailangan mong makabenta ng 150,000 units. Your break-even point. Ilang porsyento dyan A? 33%, 0.333. Ilang porsyento boy? 66.6667%. 150K times 0.333, that's 50K. 150K times 0.6666, that would be 100. Okay. Now, ito yung tanong ko sa inyo. What is the break-even point in units? Ilang A, ilang boy? Next is the break-even point in sales revenue. There are at least 2 ways to arrive at the break-even point in sales revenue. Pwede na natin ituloy dito. We can continue from here. A, dapat makabenta ka ng 50K. 50K, the price is 8. 50K times 8. And then si boy, the price is 6. You need to sell 100K. 100K times 6. 50K times 8 is 400,000. 100K times 6 is 600,000. So, you want to know the break-even point in sales revenue? When you add these two, it should be 1 million pesos. You need to sell 150,000 units, and 150,000 units is worth 1 million in pesos. Okay, ilan ang dapat mong ibenta? 150,000 units. Magkano ang dapat mong benta? 1 million pesos. Ilan? 150K. Magkano yon? 1 million. Okay ba? There is an alternative way in order to arrive at the break-even point in sales revenue. How did we arrive at the formula last time? It is the product of CMR times sales revenue. You can arrive at your contribution margin. Tama? Break-even point in sales revenue. This is the total fixed cost divided by the CMR. Total fixed cost divided by the CMR. 600K divided by 60%. The break-even sales in sales revenue. In revenue, as I've told you a while ago, it's still 1 million pesos. Paano nyo kunin yung breakdown ng sales revenue? Kunin nyo yung revenue mix naman. This time, you have to use the revenue mix. 40% of 1 million, that's A. 40% is 400. As for boy, 60% boy, is 1,600,000. Okay? Still the same. 400K manggagaling kay A, 600K manggagaling kay boy. Okay. Paano kung gusto nyo makuha yung units? I-divide nyo lang sila sa presyo nila. Magkano si A? 8 pesos. Magkano si boy? 6 pesos. How many units of A do we need to sell? 400K over 8 is 50K. How many units of B? It should be 600K over 6, 100K. That would give you a total of 150,000 units, consistent with our initial answer. Kung anong sagot natin kanina? 150,000 units, yun pa rin yung break-even point, bali-baliktarin mo man ang formula. Okay. This is how you do the calculation. I want you to take a screenshot of this. I want you to take the screenshot of this. Paki-screenshot. Okay. Now that you have the screenshot, okay, put it in another device, maybe your phone or your laptop, kung ano man yung hindi nyo ginagamit. Okay? And I want you to implement what we have done here in this problem. Specialty Cakes Incorporated. Okay? Here, the question is, how many cakes will be required to reach the break-even point? Okay? Break-even point in units. How many cakes will be required? Gusto ko gawin nyo lahat, no? Calculate nyo yung UCM ng bawat produkto, si round tsaka si heart shape. Calculate nyo yung CMR. Bukod sa calculation ng break-even point in cakes, alamin nyo rin magkano yung revenue. I think 5 minutes will be more than enough for you to answer. Kung ano man na screenshot nyo kanina, okay, yun yung i-implement nyo dito. Gamitin nyo yung binigay ko para gawin ito. And then after 5 minutes, I will ask the answer from you. Is the answer A, B, C, or D? 5 minutes, start now. Okay, type your answers. Type your answers now. So is it A, B, C, or D? Is it A, B, C, or D? Then press enter. Go. Okay, thank you for answering, Patricia, Zaira. Anyone else? Okay. So, na-implement nyo ba ng maayos? The unit mix is 10 to 15. 10 is to 15. 10 plus 15 is 20. Whether it's 1,000 or not 1,000, it doesn't matter. 10K, 15K, that would be a total of 25K. 10 over 25 is 40%. 15 over 25, that would be 60%. Okay lang? Okay, game. So I'm going to minimize this. Pound cake, heart-shaped cake. The price is 12 and 20 for the products respectively. Unit variable cost 8, 15 respectively. Unit CM 4 and 5 respectively. 4 over 12 is 33.33%. 5 over 20, that's 25%. Okay. Sales unit mix is 40%, 60%. 10 plus 15 is 25. 10 over 25 is 40%. 15 over 25 is 60%. As for the sales revenue mix, multiply the price by the budgeted sales. 12 times 10 is 120. 20 times 15 is 300. Price times quantity. 12 times 10 is 120. 20 times 15 is 300K. 120 plus 300 is 420K. 120 plus 300 is 420K. Tama? 120 divided by 420, that would be 28.57%. It's 120 over 420. The remaining 300 over 420, that would give you 71.43%. Okay? Weighted average na UCM, gamitin nyo yung unit mix. 4 times 0.4 plus 5 times 0.6. That would be 460. That would be 460. Weighted average CMR, contribution margin ratio, 33.333% times 0.2857 plus 0.25 times 0.7143. That would give you 27.368%. Again, that's 27.368%. Okay. Nice. So we'll now calculate the break-even point. Break-even point in units is the fixed cost divided by the UCM. Because this is multi-product, we use the weighted average. 92K divided by 460, 20,000 units. The breakdown would be 40% round shape, 60% heart shape. So that would give you 40% is 8,000. Heart shape is 12,000. There you go. This is the answer. Round shape, 8,000. Heart shape, 12,000. If you are asked for the sales revenue, there are two ways. You can actually multiply both by their corresponding price. Round shape, $12. Heart shape, $20. Giving you revenues of 96,000 for round shape, 40,000 for heart shape. 96K plus 240K, $136,000. This is the break-even point in sales revenue. Or, if you want to arrive at the break-even point in sales revenue directly, just divide the fixed cost by the CMR, this time weighted average, using the revenue mix. 92K divided by 0.2737. 0.2737. Subject to rounding error. More or less, this is $336,000. If you are given the revenue, you may use the revenue mix as the basis for dividing. Sales revenue mix, 28.57% of 336K, 96,000. 71.43% of 336K, that's 240,000. Gusto nyo bang makuha ulit yung break-even point in units? Divide both sides by their corresponding price. Divide both products rather by their corresponding price. 96 over 12, 40 over 20. You are back to 8K and 12K. The break-even point in units is 20,000. So very good. The correct answer is letter dog. The correct answer is letter dog. Reach the break-even point. Wala kang lugi, wala kang kita, zero profit or loss. Round-shaped cakes, 8,000. Heart-shaped cakes, 12,000. The following are the supporting calculations. Okay.
Sir,
Yes, George. Yeah.
paano nga po ulit nakuha yung sales revenue mix po? Yung
Sales revenue
28.57.
mix. Sige. Nakita mo yung price, i-multiply mo sa units. 12 times 10. 120K. 20 times 15. 300K. 120K na revenue galing kay round cake. 300K galing kay heart shape. Kung gusto nyo gawan ng fraction, 120 plus 300, 420K. Okay. So yun na. 120 over 420, 300 over 420. 120 over 420, 300 over 420.
Okay po. Thank you po.
Okay. Any more questions? So far, mga sumagot, may isa lang. Hindi. Na-correct naman niya. Na-correct niya. So the correct answer is dog. Very good for those who answered. Any other question? Okay, if there's no other question, one more similar problem, and then tapos na tayo sa CVP analysis. Okay? Sige. Now, may kalaban kayo dito. Yung kalaban nyo, English. Nagbago siya konti. This time, the total fixed cost, $94,000. The total fixed cost is $94,000 this time. Okay? You are to ignore the given here if it is challenged by the last sentence. So ingat kayo, pagdating sa last sentence, pwede niyang baguhin yung nasa dito. If the product sales mix were to change to 3 heart-shaped cakes for each round cake, English yan, no? Ano ibig sabihin nun? Okay. 1 round cake is to 3 heart-shaped cakes. Tama? 1 round cake is to 3 heart-shaped cakes. Sabihin ko na lang ha, 1 is to 3 ang meaning nun, no? Change to 3 heart-shaped cakes for each round cake. The break-even volume for each of these products would be, based sa given choices, naka-units siya, no? Naka-cakes. Hindi siya naka-pesos. So the new ratio is 1 is to 3. The new ratio is 1 is to 3. Sales price, variable cost, the same. So yung UCM tsaka CMR, hindi magbabago. Pero yung mga mix, magbabago. Can I expect this in 4 minutes? Okay, this time, I will give you 4 minutes. Go. Okay, all answers in. Enter now. Enter your answers. Okay, check natin ha. The unit CM are still 4 and 5 for the products. PM are same, 33.33% and 25%. You would have the following sales unit mix. 3 for 1, meaning 1 is to 3. 1 plus 3 is 4. 1 over 4 is 25%. 3 over 4, 75%. As for the unit product mix, a revenue mix, 12 times 1 is 12. 20 times 3, that would be 60. 12 plus 60 is 72. 12 over 72 is 16.666%. Then the remaining 60 over 72 is 83.333%. Now, if you will calculate the unit mix, weighted average UCM, 4 times 0.25 plus 5 times 0.75, 4.75. Then you have 33% times 0.16, plus 25% times 0.83333, you would have 26.89%. Now, break-even point in units is 94K over 475, 19,789. Okay, dito pa lang alam nyo na yung sagot. The breakdown is 2575, 25% is 4947, 75% is 14,842. Round up yung gusto niya, no? So, walang sinabi. Pero renound up niya sa choices. 4948, 14843. Difference due to rounding error. Multiply both by the prices if we want to arrive at the revenue equivalents. You would have 356 to 11. Or if you want to arrive at the revenues first, 94K divided by the weighted average CMR, 0.26389, 94K over 0.26389, it will give you 356,209. The $2 difference is due to rounding. What is the round shape and the heart shape ratio? That's 16.666% round, 83.333% heart, giving you the following revenues. 59,368 from round, 296,841 from heart shape. Divide both by the prices. You want to arrive at the units. Still 4947 and 14,842, a total of 19,789. The correct answer is indeed letter dog. The correct answer is indeed letter dog. Okay? For those who are able to answer, I'm now quite satisfied that you get it. Okay? Sana okay lang kayo, ha? Sana okay lang kayo. Okay, so this would be the end of our live session. Then the succeeding topics for discussion will include pre-recorded videos and exercises. Okay? Once or twice a week, I'm going to conduct really live sessions to make sure that you are on track, no? Baka mamaya hindi nyo pala pinapanood. Okay? To make sure that you are on track. Okay. In the meantime, I will be uploading the videos. Yung kanina na-upload ko na, kaso processing pa sa YouTube. And then ito, i-upload ko rin. I will stop recording. So